Hello, welcome back to some more Danganronpa SingleFile. Last time, Roger tried to do a little icebreaker challenge with everyone, but of course Ataru-kuma had to jump in and kind of cancel his plans, I suppose. Now we're back at our dorms and we'll be doing our friendship event. This recording, what I'm going to do, because I did get some insight from the creator, of course, about how much is left in this build, and apparently it's about 1 episode or 2 episodes. It's kind of like that range. So what I thought I was going to do was I was just going to record for like an hour and a bit, well, however long it takes. And if the recording is like an hour 20 plus, then I might cut it into 2. So if the second one, or if the second video, if I do end up cutting it, and the second video is a little bit abrupt in the way it starts or something, then that's your reasoning, I suppose. But yeah, anywho, I have been having a absolute blast playing this game, and please go ahead and download it down below if you want to take a look at some of the other free time events and whatnot, because I'm sure they're all quirky characters. But yeah, I think from what I understand, there's the free time event and then there's a little bit more afterwards, so let's just jump right in and we'll see what's up. So okay, last time we did Hoyt and I did Debbie here, so we're gonna do 2 different characters. I think my first gut instinct goes with Li Ching. Why not? Why not? As someone else with a Fangan with a Chinese woman in the cast, I think I have to do this one. Alright, so of course we get like email responses, right, that we have to respond to. Join me and we shall study the 200 wrong tenets together. Perhaps your killing game knowledge can benefit me in some small way as well. I wonder if these free time events are different to the first day's ones, as in or if this is the same one from the first one in terms of the leeching, like if it carries over or not, I wonder. Very interesting stuff. Okay, we can talk more in my room, come alone. That's a little intimidating, but I guess we'll meet up. Miss Wrong may be pushy, but she's right about one thing. We could benefit from putting our heads together. If she tries to practice her combat style on me though, I'll feel no guilt ditching her. That's assuming, of course, that I survive the thrust of her attack. Criminy? I don't... Is that a British term? I'm not sure. What am I getting myself into? I guess it's kind of like crikey, right? Okay. Here we are. Oh, it's very pink. Kind of surprising. I thought it was going to be like blood red, but I guess not. Well, actually, what am I saying? Blood is pink. What are we talking about? Blood has always been pink. Anyways, okay. Miss Wrong is standing with her arms crossed. There's no furniture in here for the 2 of us to sit besides the bed, so I assume I'm meant to stand as well. I feel a bit awkward. The room is quite small. Have you been, Miss Wrong? What were you doing before I arrived? Meditation, the wrong area of focus, is but one of the many skills we'll hone today. You've made the right decision coming here. Rare is it that we of the wrong family take on this training of a student. This is an unprecedented opportunity for you. Speaking frankly, the average disciple stands no chance of grasping even one of our 200 tenets. But perhaps we'll get lucky and you can adopt 1 or 2.
Now see here.
Your confidence is inspiring. Your confidence in yourself, that is. That's the right attitude. You should strive to grasp the wrong placement of confidence, one of our central tenets. You look at both of them, they have ridiculous hairstyles. I mean, Victor not as much, but, you know, he's got a giant, like, croissant going on in the back with the little diamond dahoge. And then, of course, Li Ching with a giant, just circle on top of her head, of course. By that do you mean faith in oneself? Oh, mind you, Victor's ahoge seems to be sentient. It seems to move, so keep that in mind as well.
Discipline.
Okay. It's much more than that. It is a complete belief in one's own abilities that can overcome any obstacle. And it all starts with understanding the other 199 tenets. Only with the mastery could you hope to have the faith in yourself that is necessary.
Now see here.
And that seems like decidedly the wrong place to start. Okay, indeed you may have a point.
Cannot be.
This tenet is one that eludes even me, the world's current foremost master of all the tenets.
Impossible.
You're saying you lacked confidence in yourself? Also, isn't tenets like people that live in a house or something? Does it mean something else? Maybe it means like techniques, I guess. I have to admit, I never got the impression talking to you. You seem surprisingly confident in your skills. Of course, I have confidence in myself. My strength is without equal. It's only that you remember my wrong triangle of priorities, do you not? We went over them briefly when we first met, I believe.
Discipline.
Discipline is no issue for me. Likewise, my muscle training proceeds in ideal form. Beyond the ideal, I would say. And I'm betting you that she's incredibly muscular there, as you can see, but I bet you that isn't her final form, that isn't her final ideal self that she wants to become. My problem is the third point of the triangle. I recall that was... it's definitely not the third one. Is it just the mind, right? I'm guessing? I don't think it was something dumb. I believe you said it was the mind. You're spot on, you did well learning the triangle, a fine feat for a novice. Well, it is only 3 principles, so it wasn't especially difficult to commit to memory. The simplicity is one of the finest features of the wrong triangle of priorities. It's much easier to understand than the rest of the 200 tenets. Those take years of study to master. I doubt that even you, who focuses on the mind to the exclusion of the other 2 points, could memorize them quickly.
Impossible.
I'd like to say you're wrong about that. You're wrong about that, and I see what you did there. But I'm also not willing to put in the time to prove it. Gain a logic shield. Okay, nice. Pains me to say this, but as the current inheritor of the 200 tenets my triangle is, well, to be fair, I would be kind of curious about what she would say if you chose the third one. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Not perfectly balanced. I've perhaps devoted time to combat disciplines and muscle training that should have instead been allocated to my studies. Sounds like you've kept very busy with your globe-trotting admiration of justice. It's no surprise you failed to allocate time to classical studies on top of that. It's obvious how much you've put in to the part of your life. You understand, of course, in the average case it does not matter. The mind is proven quite secondary to the body and discipline. But here in the killing games, the fight is not always so easily won through might. All manner of trickery is employed. I feel like Li Ching couldn't be someone that would actually kill, just solely based on the fact that she is very much just hit first, think later, right? Which isn't really very good for this sort of setting. So I don't really see her killing anyone. But anyways, I mean, I'm sure she can, like physically she would be able to. But again, I don't know if she could go through with a really foolproof way of going through with it. So yeah, anyways. And in my previous experience, I found myself unable to unravel any of that confusing rubbish. I had to rely on my comrades to do it. It's not easy. The only ones who attempt murder in a game such as this are those who believe they can cover their tracks with extreme cunning. I should be able to match their wiles. This is my own failure. I asked you here because I need you to assist me in completing the triangle. You're a researcher specializing in the twisted logic of these games. I need you to tutor me until my wrong logic string is unbreakable. The triangle must be balanced at all costs. The mind cannot be neglected. It's not much to ask, is it? You train me in one measly topic, and in return I shall school you on all 200 tenets.
Very well.
You know, it's not such a bad idea. I'd be happy to assist you with your learning. A superb choice worthy of my logic string. I've studied countless killing games. By dissecting the moves of past killers in those games, we can hone your reasoning skills. I'll need you to pay close attention. The mysteries can be rather complicated. Do not treat me like a child. No, I'm quite serious. That means and motivations in the killing games and class trials can be astoundingly complex. Right? The killings are absurdly overcomplicated. They're just making things needlessly difficult. See what I said? I feel like Li Ching would not be able to come up with a string of logic, if you will. Okay, you can say that again. We'll start with a useful case study. The clues to the scene of the crime included bloody footprints, a can of paint thinner, and a garden hose. Okay. I think I got a stomachache. Perhaps you could simply give me some homework this time and we can discuss the trial in depth when we meet again. Right? She is oddly adorable. I mean, I absolutely wouldn't call her that in front of her face, because I know I will absolutely get defeated, let's just say, for lack of better terms, on the spot there. But she does have a cute side for sure. Miss Wrong, if you want to talk at length about your 200 tenets, you're going to have to get through this first. Whoa. I can say that teaching Miss Wrongs won't be easy, but I have to admit this isn't a bad feeling. I've never had a chance to conduct a one-on-one lecture before. More importantly, Miss Wrong trusts me enough to take my lessons to heart. I can feel the excitement creeping into my voice as I wax on for hours about the study to which I've dedicated my life. After a long lecture, Miss Wrong looks as though smoke is going to start rising out of her ears. She's even forgotten about her intent to teach me the tenets. I decide to leave further education for another time and return to my room. Nice. Okay, cool. I do specifically wonder which Mandarin or Cantonese word, I guess, wrong is. Because, I mean, I've only dabbled in Mandarin. I am dabbling in it right now, actually. I'm trying to become trilingual. I don't know if I can pull it off. But, yeah, I've been Mandarin Duolingo for, what, 250 days straight or something? You know, slowly getting there, I suppose. But no, I'd be very curious to see what Chinese character wrong, or her whole name is basically. Anyways, okay. Alright, what should we do? Oh, I can control it with the arrow keys, I forgot about that. I am gonna go with, let's see, we could go with Kobe because of his whole situation last time that we looked into. But also I wanna go for the more mysterious characters, I think, so I'm gonna go with Zadie. Yeah, why not? I feel like we got off on the wrong foot earlier. A relationship needn't to be so adversarial. I'd like to make amends. Please meet me in the mess hall if you're of the same mind. Remind me what it was that they fought over? Did they have a little tussle? Was that the tussle in the train, maybe? I don't remember now. I'm sorry. But okay, let's meet up with her. I still feel on edge whenever I see Miss Zadie. That dream where I killed her brother and she exacted vengeance during the trial remains crystal clear. She has a good point. We have to be able to trust one another inside of this game. If I can't forget that terrible dream, then there's only one thing to do. I have to replace that misconception by learning about the real woman. In the process, I'll let her get to know who I am. Whatever she thinks she knows about me, showing her my real self will override whatever she suspects me of. Okay, let's take a look. I wonder if we're going to her room or we're going to the kitchen. Okay. I find Miss Zadie alone in the mess hall where she said she'd be. It doesn't look like Mr. Eatwell is around, but she's found food from somewhere. How does she eat? Is that just like a flap? Did she put the food underneath the flap? Because that would be pretty funny to watch, but... As she brings a spoonful of soup to her lips, oh okay, she moves the curtain in front of her face aside just enough to allow the food into her mouth. I predicted the next bit of text, of course, okay. I thought she hadn't noticed me, but as soon as she swallowed, she turned her head in my direction. There you are, I found myself hungry as soon as I reached the mess hall. Luckily for me, the pantry's well stocked. I made enough for two, would you like a bowl as well? No, I'm not hungry just at the moment, thank you for the offer though. Do people eat soup when they're hungry? I feel like it's always like a soup plus something else, you know? Like a soup with the entree and then, you know, some bigger meal or something like that. I don't know. I've never really been a massive soup drinker, so I'm not entirely too sure, but at least the Japanese way to do it is like, oh, here's like, you know, miso soup, or here's pork soup, right? And then they'll have rice and maybe some, you know, some other main dish with it, right? In a little kind of, not bento, but sort of like a lunch set of sorts, sorry. So yeah, no, it's interesting. I never really had a massive soup phase. You know, there's cold soups as well. That sounds so gross. I don't know. Anyways, okay. Is cereal a soup? No, we're not going there. Alright. Really, it's only miso soup. It's quite light as a snack, a regular accompaniment with Japanese cuisine. I really am fine. I see how it is. You don't trust my food, do you? Oh, that's right. We have seen the sprite of her lifting her curtain up with her fan. You think I may have poisoned the pot? No, assure you that is not the issue. That mistrust is what we're here to address. Please have a seat. I take a seat across from the ultimate spy master as she sets her bowl of soup aside and retrieves her folding fan from inside a sleeve. The fan is jet black with a suspicious eye glaring from its surface that magically changes color and expression sometimes. I don't entirely get it either. It's only natural to be on the edge around a stranger, however.
I think not.
I think it's more than that between you and me. I know why it is. I have a hard time trusting you and I'm willing to talk about it. However, why is it you have such a hard time talking to me? So is this the question this time? Should I actually mention this, or should I not? Is it something I should keep to myself? I don't know. And I don't want to make a save state, you know, just because whenever I play games for the first time, I always want to go through and choose all the options I think would be fit, even if they're the wrong ones. Do you get what I mean? At least that's how I play visual novels and stuff. And then if I wanted to 100% it, then I'll go back, make save states, whatever. Okay, for the time being, maybe we should we open up to her? She's a rather serious person, so I think we should. The truth is, I saw you in a dream. I take it wasn't a pleasant dream.
Impossible.
I'm afraid it wasn't. I can't remember all the details, but it's more like a nightmare. Can't imagine it was really me when you saw in the dream. Perhaps it was simply a figure dressed all in black. It doesn't change the fact that there is simply no way you would have met me before.
You have it.
Still, I understand that you're being honest and I appreciate that, but either way, it's quite a bit different from my reasoning for mistrusting you. Nice, okay, so I guess that was the answer. Interesting. Again, it would be interesting seeing, like, oh, the way you dress, you know, irks me a little or whatever. She does kind of look like a chess piece, to be honest, with the little cat-like ears, I suppose. I don't know. Okay, I was involved in a killing game before. In that killing game, I met a gentleman who looked nearly identical to you. He could have been your brother, appearance-wise. He was a surprisingly thoughtful person. For a murderer, that is. A murderer, one that looks like me?
I think not.
Looks past tense. For that, you see, the man definitely perished. But here I see you, his doppelganger, in such a similar setting, and I have to wonder if I only imagined his death.
Impossible.
I have no relatives, no doppelgangers, as you put it. Whoever you saw, it definitely wasn't me, and the resemblance must have been imagined.
My.
Victor, I think we should share a secret about ourselves, one that no one else knows from deep in our past. How about the most embarrassing story you can think of? Embarrassing. This free time event, or this specific character, is very, very interesting, because it's not really a free time event, it's more like exposition about, you know, past lore and potential, foreshadowing and that sort of thing. So this is a very, very interesting free time event. I don't think there was many of that in the original games or any of that. At least not that I remember. There might have been. I don't remember. Okay, embarrassing. I'll start. When I was younger, I wanted to have a cat as a pet. Unfortunately, my mother wasn't willing to purchase or adopt one. She didn't want us having to take care of a pet. I guess that's why she has kind of cat-like ears here. I adored cats, I still do. So without considering the consequences, I controlled the little cage and trapped the neighbor's cat. I brought it home with me, only that is ridiculously psychopathic, but okay. He never warmed up to me, it clawed at me so many times trying to escape. One time I howled out in pain and my brother came running. I was covered in scratches with tears in my eyes when he made me hand the cat back over to our neighbors and apologize. That rhymed. You're the ultimate lyricist? I don't know. I can barely imagine such a scene. Is that why you cover your face now to hide scratches from your cats? my, I'm already wishing I'd never told you. Now please reciprocate an embarrassing story from your past if you would. I may be missing about 6 months of my memory, but I can remember before that time. I'm not totally comfortable sharing an embarrassing story around a stranger, but I'll try anyway.
Very well.
When I was younger, I didn't understand the concept of money. I came from a rather wealthy family and received a large allowance. I was not a proper study of human behavior. I was more interested in disassembling toys and machines and learning about other people. You know, wasn't there a character in Barky, I think it was? Who was just, it was like, Jack Hammer, I think? It was like the final boss of the first season, whatever. And his whole thing was like, I like dismantling bicycles and stuff like that, which turned him into kind of like a, sort of like a psychopathic killer in a sense. He's like a really good fighter who knows all the joints in the human body and whatnot. Like, yeah, it's a little worrying whenever you hear someone that's just like, I got my bike when I was 7 and I started dismantling it just for fun. It's like, a little bit worrying, but okay. Anyways, okay. I'm sure Victor couldn't do something like that on someone's body. Thus, I was stunted socially. The other kids found out I was rich and decided to take advantage.
Impossible.
They arranged so that every day I give them 90% of my allowance. Isn't that just him being bullied? I went along with it thinking that was how you were supposed to make friends. Now it's actually quite horrible. You're telling me. I was devastated when my father explained it to me. If anything, it worsened my isolation from other people. School was a rough time for me in general, if I'm being honest. We all were jealous of the one rich friend, weren't we? I had a rich friend growing up. He had like those, I don't know what you call them. Well, first of all, he had a swimming pool, which first of all is privileged as is. But also had like these, what are they called? They're sort of like these rocket-like things. They're kind of like mini jet skis or mini like scuba diving thingies that you would use in the pool. I don't know how safe they were. But yeah, anyways, yeah, every time. And it's crazy as well because like rich people, or at least rich kids, they almost don't know the value of things in a sense where I remember there was a lot of times where I wasn't even trying to take advantage of this kid or anything, but you know, I would take a attachment to one of his toys or something, you know, Ben 10 toys, you know, that sort of thing. And then he would just be like, oh yeah, you can just take that one home. Like, if you seem to like it a lot, so, you know, you can have it. And it's like, I'm sure that was his way of showing kindness and stuff, but looking back, it's kind of interesting, isn't it? The way kids are brought up and stuff. I didn't think I was going to go on this much of a tangent, I'm sorry, but that just reminded me of that, so... let me know down below, were you the rich kid, or did you have a rich kid friend? Because, well, we can only be one or the other. So, anyways, okay. School was a rough time for me in general, if I'm being honest. School was the peak of my life, if I'm being honest. It's sad, I know. Anyways, okay. It's all downhill from there. Anyways, okay. Right. But look at us crying over cat scratches and bullying. There are far worse things in the world to worry about.
My,
Yeah, especially in
my.
this world with the whole, like, despair thing going on, I guess. You're quite correct. That must have been a painful memory for you, thank you for sharing
You
it.
have it.
Most importantly, it seemed to be an honest recollection. If you're making it up, you're doing a very convincing job. You're not a blank slate like the other you I met. I'll try to trust you.
Very well.
And I will try to do better as well, Miss Sadie. She nods. I can't see the look on her face, but I suspect she's smiling. Feeling better now, I rise to leave her to the rest of her meal. She stops me with a question. Before you go, I'd like to ask, do you have anyone you need to protect, Victor? No, my father's practically disowned me, and I have no other relatives. I live alone. If anything, I'd say the others in the game are the ones I want to protect. I mean, I know it'd be kind of cliche, but at the same time, I kind of want to see it. If the father is behind it, and if the father planted memories of his own son building an android for some reason or something like that, right? It is rather cliche, but at the same time, I think it'd be pretty hype. So I don't mind if it is or it isn't, I feel. Anyways, okay.
You have it.
You feel responsible for them, why is that? I can't say, but if I had to give a reason, it's because I'm the world's leading researcher of the killing games. Did I skip a bit of dialogue? Hold on 1 second. The others in the games are the ones I want to protect, yeah, okay. I don't know if I read that or not. Even if I did read it, I didn't, what do you call it, like, recognize it in my brain, so anyways. What good am I if none of the knowledge I've amassed applies here?
You have it.
It's a good answer regardless. As for me, I have people I need to protect, my organization. I'll do whatever it takes to ensure their well-being. That's my responsibility as a spy master. You do whatever it takes to escape the game? You should be careful how you phrase that. It almost sounds like you're saying
My,
nothing so
my.
drastic as what you're imagining. I only meant that I have certain secrets I can't divulge. I'm sorry if that makes me seem untrustworthy. I do feel like Zadie is definitely a type that could kill if given the opportunity or if pushed into the corner kind of thing. Water under the bridge, Miss Sadie. Thank you again for your invitation. With a curt bow, I take my leave from the table. The ultimate spy master is still hiding all sorts of secrets, but I suppose that's her job. Did she have a last name? I forget. If either one of us is hiding secrets the others need to know, it's probably me. She's trying to break down the barrier with that frank discussion. I feel a sense of lingering guilt as I return to my room, regretting that I can't be more open with her. Reference tab has been updated. Nice. Okay. Okay. Soon it'll be time for part 2 of Miss Dodge's questionable ultimate icebreaker plan. He asks us to assemble once more in the cafeteria around 10 AM. I don't have high hopes for it, but I plan to attend anyway. If nothing else, it will be a decent opportunity for us to strategize before the kill detector test. That's assuming anybody bothers to show up. As if anticipating my qualms, the man himself sends another message, addressed to the whole group. Nice. It's about that time. Everybody get together in the mess hall and I'll groove on down in just a minute with the surprise I promised you. Why is his, name yellow, I wonder? Maybe you all can come up with another icebreaker in the meantime? Don't make me do all the work, lol. Okay, another came through. Hey, I'm serious, you all better be there. Alright, I guess so, but at the same time, he is a little bit sussy, as you could say, for being the one instigating all this, but okay. Well, clearly means a lot to him, even if the last part of the plan was a huge disappointment, perhaps the second part will make up for it. What do you think, Miss Xavier? Are you going to show? I see absolutely no reason to do that. I'm busy in the laboratory right now. If you're actually interested in that stuff, then by all means go. I'm sure it works into the grand scheme somehow. It probably takes a real genius like you to figure out how entertaining that man again serves any purpose at all in the game. As a point, initially I thought it might be good to place some trust in him, since keeping the peace is after all his ultimate talent. Now it seems I was completely mistaken to do so. Still, there is a chance, if slight, that his second strategy might justify his first. I know now Miss Xavier won't be in attendance. I feel I can count on only myself and a handful of the others. With a sigh, I head back out to the Ataru rail. Okay. I won't be surprised if this game or this build ends on a death reveal, to be honest, because we're in day 2, and that's usually the time when shit hits the fan, as you could say. So yeah, if someone dies very soon, I would not be surprised. Should I predict who dies first? I don't even know. I honestly don't even know. Like, I could see it being so many different characters. You know, like the obvious ones are like Roger or Zadie, or someone that's like super mysterious and has a lot of information in a sense, because it's unpredictable from the player's standpoint, right? But at the same time, it could be someone less important, you know, like Bailey or or Mr. Debunker or whatever, like a character that isn't massively important to the storyline, if that makes sense. I mean, they're important in the sense that they're characterized, but they're not, you know, it's not like Kobe Eatwell, right? He's the one making the food. Victor, of course, is the one researching. Maya's probably going to be fine for a while. Hoyt and Skip are trying to fix up the plane and ship respectively to get out of here. So I feel like it's either going to be someone that's ridiculously important or someone that's just not important at all. Kind of like the fodder type of character, which I know that's kind of hard to say, but at the end of the day, every Fangan cast, every Danganronpa cast has kind of like the fodder characters that definitely brighten up the story, and they deserve to be in there, but they don't really give a ton to the overall story. So I don't know. I know my answer was very vague based on who I think is going to die first, but yeah, that's kind of my thoughts right now. Alright, to my surprise, I'm not the only one who decided to come back for a second helping of Mr. Dodger's absurd shenanigans. With the exception of Mr. Dodger himself, Miss Xavier, and the ever-absent Mr. Debunker all appear to be present and accounted for. I was wondering if you'd show you seemed mighty offended when Roger put you on blast earlier. Can't say I don't feel a little guilty for talking everybody into it, but hey, what's the harm, you know? Being a greenhorn in the field of romance ain't nothing to get frustrated about, is it? If the two of us are too focused on our work to get up to any of that balloony, who cares? More time for focusing on the important stuff. But you truly, to imagine work occupying so much of one's time that one cannot spare time for the occasional flight of fancy. You're all in the wrong business, I'd say ho ho ho. Or perhaps it is you who is too prone to the occasional flight of fantasy. Sounds like occasional is putting it generously. Some could say she's a ho ho ho. Anyways, now, let's calm ourselves. You don't want the peace broker bragging that all we need him around to keep the peace when he returns and see us fighting, do you? Okay.
You got it.
That's the one thing I can get behind at least. Oh my god. Every time I hear this man's voice, my heart melts. I don't know who does Hoyt's voice, but thank you. Thank you for your voice in my ears. That sounded awfully creepy, I apologize. You know, you never know, this voice actor might be watching this video. I'm sorry. Okay, you'll do way too much bitching. I think it's a case of the sea calling the river salty, brother of mine. I love how he says brother of mine. He reminds me of, the Paradox Brothers from Yu-Gi-Oh! Or whatever. I think they kind of talk like that as well. It's like honorable brother or something, I forget. Yeah. I'm just happy everyone appears to be in high spirits. I apologize if I upset anyone earlier with my story.
Very well.
No need for apologies, you were right. That was indeed a cautionary tale about the dangers these games pose to everyone.
Now
Wait a minute,
see
I think I
here.
miscounted a moment ago. There's one more person missing too, isn't there? Is counting a little too tough for you? There's 8 people here, I get. Where's the crabapple who's always hanging around? Crabapple? She's decided to sit this one out.
Impossible.
With Mr. Bunker and Mr. Dodger also out, that ought to leave one more person. Is it Bailey? You've got the ultimate comms officer altogether, I see. I must say I feel offended in her stead, but then again, being forgotten might be exactly what she's going for. Do you think she's already dead? I mean, I could totally see it, like I said with my theory before, of like the lesser important characters going out. At least in chapter 1, I feel like chapter 3 is usually when it's like, okay, now we're getting serious. Now the big characters are going to start dying off. And I don't mean like it's size-wise, I mean like importance-wise. And by the way, for anyone who is here after knowing me from being the creator of Danganronpa Alter Nexus, this is not me giving away the cheat sheet for Alter Nexus. I just want to make that clear. You never know what's going to happen. This is just my, you know, if I was one player of Fangan games, this is kind of how I would think, basically. So yeah, that's, that's all I can say. Anyways, okay. I must say I feel, being forgot, yeah, right, she already said that, sorry about that. My apologies, do you know her whereabouts? I do, she's currently in the comms tower, where we can expect her to stay anytime her presence is not implicitly required, such as when she needs to eat. I see, well I can hardly blame her for shunning this whole affair. Time passes with more small talk as we wait for Mr. Dodger's grand reveal. He's taking his sweet time, do you think he's dead? I feel like Roger Dodger could easily die first. I suppose I'm still curious about a thing or two. I may as well use this time to get information from the others. Okay, talk with Kobe about Destin. So I guess that was like his partner or his husband or something. I'm not entirely too sure if they were actually married or dating or just getting to know each other, but either way, his partner, I should say. I don't know what other words I can use. Okay, and talk with Elisa about Roger, talk with Zadie about Bailey. That weirdly rhymes, actually. I feel like Roger's the key man of this situation, right? So I might as well talk to Elisa. Come to think of it, you and Roger have a shared history. You both participated in the Devil's Bargain together. Oh, I didn't know that. I must have missed that. It seems like despite that, he's a little cold towards you. I would have thought you two would be close after that experience. Oh ho ho, cold towards Moi, you must be imagining things.
No
As if anything could resist my broad appeal. That said, I shall admit, we didn't become as close as I had liked during that killing game. After all, Roger resolved it without a single death. It was over lickety-split, hardly a trial fit for the ultimate escape artist. Oh, so that battle, or not battle, that killing game must be the only one here that ended in multiple survivors, because they just ended the whole thing, right? That's kind of my guess. Alright, what a wasted opportunity, really, that nerve of that man. It's quite troublesome of him to free you all from the killing game like that. No! You must understand, Victor, a killing game is a perfect opportunity for an escape artist. What more perfect person is there for a magnificent Eliza Loki to attempt to escape from? I keep forgetting if it's Eliza or Elisa, I'm sorry. Of course, I hold a grudge against him for releasing me from my first killing game with naught but a wet fart. What? That's a phrase? I didn't know that. Peace, Patooey.
Now see
You almost sound like you
here.
want to be trapped inside this killing game.
Perfect.
I've certainly warmed up to the idea. The more I think about it, the more it seems like a second opportunity.
Impossible.
I hope you're not thinking of using the traditional method of a killing game escape, Miss Loki.
No.
I guess she is not low-key. Murder is a means of escape, but hardly an artful one, wouldn't you say? That would be like following the blueprint, but the mastermind hadn't us. How dull. I'll escape the killing game my own way, in my own time, hee hee. Oh, you gotta talk to everyone. Oh, I see. Okay. I'm terribly sorry to hear what happened to you and your partner in Kuma's kitchen. I guess partner is the right word, because I didn't know if they were dating or not, so I can't really say boyfriend. I can't say husband either. Yeah, so I was a little lost on words there for a second, but okay. Yes, thank you, Monsieur Leeds. It was such a short time ago and for such a brief period, but that game felt like it went on forever. Part of that was the horror, but also perhaps a desire to prolong my time with him. It may even be that I only feel it retroactively. What sort of person was the ultimate spice, though, that he made such an impression on you? He probably spiced his dishes. I mean, I could work that one out, let's be real. Alright, they say that dire circumstances breed fast friendships, sometimes even more. Perhaps he and I were both caught up in the moment. We bonded over a shared interest, and I believe one might say we had similar personalities. Even before that point, I'd seen my entire family swept away in the killing games and told him as much. I found he had a healing presence. He had lost much in the games, but he still seemed so whole and healthy. And yet he was capable of understanding my pain, which deepened our understanding of one another. Not to mention his brilliance when it came to cooking. I could hardly help but to admire his talent. I see it was an easy friendship then. We had talents that click together. You know, research and research assistance. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyways, okay. We had our differences as well. It was a bit of a joke compared to me. The others must have thought he had a troublesome personality. I'm sure they felt the same about me once I became friends with him. Okay, in the end, none of them cared for me much regardless. May I ask why? My apologies, Monsieur Leeds, but I'm still not ready to talk about it. In the end, I'm the one that failed him. I earned their hatred by means of that failure. I also just realized that Kobe looks like one of the Mega Man bosses. I'm not super, knowledgeable of that game, like the old one, but I remember one of them. I don't know if it's like Birdman or something. I know there's one that was like fire and stuff, right? Isn't there one that kind of looks like him there? I don't know. I might be crazy. Oh, okay. Sorry. I looked it up because I was very curious. I was thinking of Woodman, I guess is his name. I just realized I've only really played Mega Man 2. Which I think is one of the hardest ones, right? Or am I crazy? Is that the one with the yellow devil? I didn't get super far into it, but I do remember there was a character that looked an awful lot like Kirby here. So, I guess that's what I was thinking of. I was thinking of a Woodman. Okay. It's funny, it's not even called Logman or something. Anyways, okay, back to the game. Okay, in the end, I'm the one that failed them. I earned their hatred by means of that failure. Let's leave it at that. Okay, I don't think... Have I seen that sprite before? I don't know if I have. You said you were sure that Miss Listening was camped out in the communications tower. What makes you so sure? Come now, Victor, you've met her. I'm sure she was upfront about her intent to spend most of her time there. It's not as though there was much incentive for her or anyone else to attend a second one of Roger's icebreakers. I don't know, quick meal? bit of dinner, I don't know. It was a struggle to take that first one seriously. It won't surprise you to know that I have serious doubts about the man's authenticity as a peace broker. Indeed, that's been on my mind as well. It's more like he's just playing around. But back to Bailey. It does seem like the two of you are closer already than I would have expected.
You have it.
We do share a mutual hobby, keeping tabs on people. If Charles came out of that safe house, I'd imagine he'd be part of our people-watching club as well. How about you, Victor? You're a researcher after all. Studying people probably involves spying on them too, doesn't it?
Now see
That is rather
here.
uncanny. It's odd that so many of you have no qualms with invading people's privacy. It's almost like a theme here. But no, I have no interest in spying on people. I'll happily leave that to all of you. So yourself, I'll admit, being as nosy as I am is a good way to make yourself suspicious. Ha ha ha. Okay, I'm running out of conversation topics, I guess. The wait for Mr. Dodger is beginning to drag. It's been a full 30 minutes now and he has not made his appearance. He hasn't responded to any of my messages either. This is starting to feel ridiculous.
No sir.
I'm a patient guy, but I'm running short on my rope. All of us are busy fellas, aren't we? Yeah, you still have a ship that you're trying to fix, right? Yeah, fair enough. Okay, my pa told me not to waste other people's precious minutes. Seems like Roger missed that day of school. Skip, this is just headcanon, but I think Skip is the one that wakes up the earliest out of all the characters. It would make the most sense. You know, fishermen are usually at the markets by 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, right? Which means, what, are they fishing from like 4 or something? From, you know, sunrise kind of thing? Alright, this guy's pretty old. I mean, I guess he's a sailor. I guess that's a little bit different to a fisherman, but you get my point. This guy's pretty ultimately for someone enrolled in military academy. Wahaha. You're absolutely right. This is a disgrace. I think I want to step out and go find him. I'll be back in 2 minutes. 2 shakes of a whale's tail. None of us have any reason to stop Skip. Is he gonna die? I'm starting to doubt everyone now. We allow him to go out searching for the peace broker on his own. If anything changes with the situation here, we can simply send him a message to update him. Dagnabbit, we're frazzled and scattered all over the place. This ain't much of an icebreaker. The sailor does have some admirable qualities, doesn't he? Like a man who takes charge.
Screw that.
Keep a lid on it, you fucking weirdo. I guess he's trying to protect his brother from being hit on by Eliza. Okay.
I think not.
I wonder, do you really think Skip went to check on Roger because he's fed up with waiting? Perhaps it's just my nature to second guess everyone's intention, but I've had another thought. The music stopped.
Screw that.
Go ahead and share it. You and that monocle jackass both like making people drag the answers out of you. It's goddamn annoying.
You have it.
I simply suspect the real reason he's gone out is because he's as concerned as the rest of us are. Concerned? You're not, after all. Roger was quite insistent about getting us all together the first time and seemed just as serious about the second gathering. Oh, this is a new track. I dig it. It's a bop. What could make him so late? Why is he responding to messages? Why isn't he responding? My bad. Surely you see where I'm going with this.
Impossible.
You think something may have happened to him. Or perhaps the peacebreaker is breaking the peace against someone else at the very moment.
I think
That's highly
not.
unlikely. Who would recognize the nonsense in committing a murder during a time like this, when he's gathered all of us to act as alibis for one another? Also, I guess the kill detector test doesn't necessarily need to happen. As in, the kill detector test just being there as a thing that is going to happen eventually is enough to pressure certain people to start acting up, right? Because they'll be like, well, you know, like if this goes through, then maybe their plans will get shunned into the light, that sort of thing. So it almost doesn't even need to happen. Just the mere existence that it will happen in the future is more than enough, I feel. I suspect Skip wants to confirm if something has happened to Roger in the course of preparing that surprise for all of us. But all of us are gathered together here. There's no one to have done anything to the long-haired idiot. You're saying he knocks himself out trying to bring whatever that surprise was to us. Well, technically, other than the free time events, anyone could have been anywhere, right, beforehand. Before coming here. Yes, that's it. The surprise is probably a large firearm he intended to bring to me to the armory. He lost his grip and dropped it from the top shelf onto his head. He's unconscious, and that's why he isn't answering our messages. But it's my wrong logic string at work. God, I want you to survive for at least a very long time, because I need to see this woman in a class trial, because that'd be way too funny. Okay.
I think
Not quite. Remember, there are others missing. Bailey, Charles, Maya. Bloody hell, now it's Skip missing as well. The water's getting murky, as I believe Mr. Sullivan himself would say.
Screw that.
Why the fuck would I say that? I hate the water.
Now
The
see
other
here.
I love that. That's so funny. The other Mr. Sullivan. I think, I feel like I mentioned this when these characters were first introduced, but basically, the Sullivan brothers are an interesting bunch of characters because if one of them dies, the other one will absolutely have a really good character growth moment. So I can't see both of them living, but at the same time, I think it's very, very likely for at least one of them to survive because of that. Danganronpa 2 spoilers if you don't want to hear it. I mean, if you don't want to hear it, you're probably watching the wrong video. But if you don't want to hear it, skip ahead like 5-10 seconds, okay? I'm just gonna say a name now. Kuzuryu, right, in Danganronpa 2 has the whole thing of, you know, whatever, all that shit happens, and then he comes back, right, and he becomes a better person, right, in a sense. I almost feel like it's going to be a case where Skippy's going to die at some point, and Hoyt, being the angsty teen that he is going to start opening up after that happens. And by the way, don't feel bad if any of my predictions are correct, because I'm guessing you're watching the same. It just means that, you know, I always say this with story writing and stuff. If you can predict it, it doesn't mean it's necessarily bad, because I still have no idea how, even if that was correct, how that would get to that point, right? And I think the fact that I'm even having these thoughts means that you have a very, very strong, stable, like, structure, right? That they have very, very deep characters that sort of mingle with each other, and it leads to these kinds of theories, I feel. But yeah. What a cool track though. Back on topic. Everything suddenly feels as though it's coming apart. Why the blazes isn't Mr. Dodger responding? There's no way something's happened to him in the short time since he sent that message asking us to assemble. My head is throbbing as I go through every reassuring reason he might have failed to show up. Perhaps this is in itself the icebreaker? Perhaps we're all meant to converse and bond during this time? Or what? What could that buffoon possibly be doing right now? What a message. Relief. This must be Mr. Dodger finally responding to let us know what's kept him. Or it could be Mr. Sullivan reporting the whereabouts of the missing individual. To my surprise, it's neither one of them. The message is from Miss Listening. Okay. Roger's at the port. What, he's supposed to be coming with us. Why in the bloody blue blazes is he there? That motherfucking hippie's touching my plan, I swear. I'm gonna shove that fake-ass metal down his throat. He's on the ship. He's trying to use the ship right now. I think he's planning to try to escape the island with the... Wait, hold on. What if this is a setup? What if Bailey's doing a little sneaky? I don't know. Can't believe what I'm reading. How could he be such an imbecile? It is fun coming up with mysteries though, isn't it? And then it's fun watching people react to those mysteries, being like, I hope they don't get it in, you know, in one go. But anyways, I still have no idea how, you know, what could happen. You got that right. I thought that guy was just a stupid asshole, but he's gone the extra mile.
Impossible.
Indeed, he must realize that the ship is encoded to a fingerprint system, one of the so-called secret locks. He'll be completely incapable of operating it, even with this ruse.
Screw that.
That's not what I'm talking about, Egghead. The situation is a lot fucking worse than you realize. But how could it be possibly worse? Before Mr. Sullivan can answer me, another message from Miss Listening directs our attention back to the Ataru pad. Okay. It's more like an Ataru phone, isn't it? From the size of it. Oh, and then again, I guess it could be like tablet-sized. Roger had a gun, and Skip just showed up. He came off the Ataru rail. Okay. Now Roger knows he's coming. The Blossom Monorail will have given him away. He's getting these messages too, isn't he? Why the hell isn't he stopping? I'll patch you guys into the video from my drone feed. Sorry. We will watch in terror as our Ataru pad receives output from the drone's camera. I'm surprised she managed to figure out how to do this so quickly. There's no way for any of us to save Skip now. The monorail would take far too long to make a rotation from here to the point. All we can do is pray for Skip's safety as he approaches an armed man. Wow. I mean, because if this happens... look at that sprite, that's super cool. If this happens, it's all caught on camera, so this wouldn't make any sense. There he is, I was hoping he'd showed up. Sorry, you and the others have probably been really bored waiting for me to make my entrance, eh? Figured if you and your brother skipped out of my icebreaker, you'd come here, and if not, maybe I get lucky and you wander here one by one, once you were tired of waiting. Either way, this is going the same way.
No siree!
You're making a big mistake, chum. There's a reasonable fish swim in schools, the one who breaks patterns, the one who's drifting out to the deep sea. You're doing pretty tough for a guy with no gun. Right. Anyway, this is how the next part of the ultimate icebreaker goes down. Roger's great escape. I mean, like I said, I did not trust this man one bit from the start, but did he beat the previous death game in a similar manner? I don't know. Interesting, isn't it? You're gonna use your fingerprints to get this hunger junk moving. It's already pretty much operational, right? If you don't, well, nothing says you have to be alive for me to use the prince, right? In fact, I think it turns off if you die. So you can play it that way if you want to, Popsci.
No siree!
I'm telling you one more time, if you drop the gun and put your hands up, we can go back to the mess hall like none of this ever happened. It'll be forgotten just like it'll be scuttled under the sea, a lost ship, never to be dragged up again, except by the foolish. You're the one who's being foolish, eh, man? I'll kill you. You think I won't do it because of this stupid game? Nobody's gonna have time to do a thing about it. I kill you, the lock opens, and I'm out of here. Doesn't matter if anybody figures this out, because there's not gonna be any trial. Not the first time I've broken the law and gotten away with it. Okay, all things considered, I think I've been pretty gentle with you so far. Not a single wave chopping the blue. But you come between a man and his boat, and well, it's getting a little annoying if I'm being honest. If I'm screwing everyone over and leaving them in a killing game, might as well get a start on it, right? Sorry you got caught up in this, but blame despair, not me. Nighty-night. My breath stopped. I watched with the eyes half squinted, expecting to see bloodshot from the younger Sullivan brother's head and stain his white sailor's uniform. But no, he dodged it. Roger Dodger wasn't the dodger, I guess. Just in time, Skip waved underneath the point of impact with an amazing reflexive act. What is this, man? Does he have shonen powers? Like, I count my blessings and neither of them drew blood. It's on the first mistaken count I've made today. What? Did he shoot?
You're joking.
You dodged it? That's not possible. How? My hand is... What did you do to my fucking hand? You... Okay. Oh my god, he's got a knife? Gee, Roger, I tried to warn you. I told you it was a bad idea. Did he cut him with his teeth? Like Zorro style? Did he have the dagger in his mouth? Like, you're like a fish swimming right into the mouth of a shark with every chance to swim the other way. My god, the respect I have for Skip has, you know, threefold or something at this point. Why'd you have to go and do that? You know, the other thing a sailor won't do is surrender his ship. I'm going to be sick. The ultimate sailor has cut 4 fingers from the peace broker's hand. The gun clatters to the floor uselessly, forgotten at Mr. Dodger's feet as he kneels defeated. The would-be assailant is trying to wrap his fingers up in his neck towel to stop the bleeding, while the one who draws blood cleans his knife against one of the ship deck towels. I can't read, I'm sorry. Ship's deck towels, yeah. I'm going to faint now, aren't I? Why am I not fainting? If you promise to play nice, I'll be happy to bandage those up with a nice and proper sailor's knot. Roger nods weakly as the colour drains from his face, his blood staining his towel on the deck of the ship. Skip sets to work bandaging the stubs with the ship's first aid kit. Also, I'm glad that the blood is pink in this. It falls in line with the Danganronpa stuff. So the lesson has come at such a high price, chum. The sea is a cruel mistress and I am her cruel master. I'm just gonna take your pea shooter and your fingers and find a safe place for him. Though I guess we're all safer if you don't have a gun or the fingers, huh? He's gonna throw them into the ocean. What is going on? It's not just that violence has erupted so quickly in such an extreme way, interrupting what we all assumed was going to be another of the Peace Broker's childish games. It's my reaction. I just witnessed a spray of blood stain a man's face and pull at his feet while dripping from the grotesque stubs of his severed fingers. I even saw it staining that knife that Mr. Sullivan used to do the deed. Why am I not unconscious? I've never been able to look at blood without passing out. It's because... Is it an automaton? Is that what... Oh, that wasn't blood, it was synthetic blood, the kind used in automatons. It wasn't red, it was black, just like Miss Xavier's when she cut herself in the lab to demonstrate. She told me that they were automatons, I don't believe her. Huh. So was Zadie also an automaton back in the prologue with the, you know, the first trial or whatever? Episode 0, whatever you want to call it? Yeah, that'd be interesting. So maybe everyone could have used the robo knife back then. And the blood I thought I saw in the young man's knife, it was... also black. Roger is an automaton. He's like Miss Xavier, who must also be an automaton. Sorry, I keep bumping things on the table. I apologize about that. See? The message from Miss Xavier is extremely succinct. Succinct? I don't know. I've never seen that word. A point has just been made for her. I think it just means like very like sharp and simple and stuff. Whoa, a lot of sprites on the screen. That's kind of an interesting way to display it. I like it. Also, I don't think I ever commented on how bold the outlines of the sprites are. I really like it. It just makes everything pop. I think it's really nice. I feel like my head is spinning. Ironically, this new revelation has me feeling as though I'm going to faint, despite my staying conscious through all of the blood just now. Ironically, this new revelation has me feeling as though I'm going to faint, despite my staying conscious through all the blood just now. Vicky, hey Vicky. Mr. Noy's voice sounds a million miles away. Do they see the black blood, or do they not notice it? I don't think I faded, but I'm alone with my thoughts. The others have disappeared from my vision. I can't pull it all together. Why did I construct this experiment? I'm alone, surrounded by automatons? If I take that to be true, then for what purpose? I mean, then again, it could just be Roger. We don't know. We don't know. It's not the way the SingleFile project was designed to work, nor is it the 12-man training exercise from the Future Foundation cover story. If it's a work of despair, why would they put me, a single human, in a game full of automatons? What if you are? Or what if there's only a couple automatons, you know? Here's the thing with Danganronpa stuff, it's like, I have this instinct of like, the obvious answer is never the right answer, right? So, I keep doubting myself and doubting myself and doubting myself. So I have no idea what's going to happen, is what I'm trying to say. The most likely answer is that it really is my own work, but what was I aiming to achieve? Does Miss Xavier know the answers? Is she my pawn in all this, someone else's? Or could she be the one behind it all? More importantly, is this where it's going to end? I feel like it's starting to feel like this is where it's going to end. Everyone, can I go on treating the others as normal human beings, knowing what I know about Roger? I did always say I was more comfortable around machines, but is this someone's attempt to undermine my efforts, to stop me from caring about the fates of my peers? The challenge here is to defend all their lives as fiercely as though they were human, despite my doubts. I wonder if such a thing is possible. Okay. When I step out of my dizziness, I'm surprised to find myself in the tower row with Miss Xavier. It looks like not much time has passed. Go Pack. You'd have to know how suspicious it'd look if you fell unconscious right before this test. Oh yes. What happened after the incident with Mr. Dodger and Mr. Sullivan at the port? Is everyone alright? They're both here. The two of them were on the Atari rail together when it made its round to the mess hall. Apparently Skip made us stop there to put their fingers on ice. The gun is also locked up in the same place. Did you get that one from Kaiji, the ultimate gambler, I wonder? Where Kaiji's holding his frozen fingers in the back of a taxi or whatever. Anyways. Even though that meathead sharpshooter wanted everyone to give it over to her, the mariner held his ground. After that, I got on from the laboratory. Right now, the train's probably got everyone who's going to be in the kill detector test. We're all a little late getting over that. It's a good thing that this wasn't made mandatory for any of us. I doubt that this will improve Atarukuma's mood, however. Who cares about that idiot thinks? As long as we didn't break any rules, we're okay. I assume Mr. Dodger's being closely guarded now, isn't he? You got that right. Then again, even if he wasn't, the guy only just stopped howling in pain. He looks half dead. But if you're worried about him, you shouldn't be. Partially because he got what he deserved, but also because, well, you get it now, right? The true nature of these people. Impossible. Please, Miss Xavier, let's not talk about that subject right now. Thinking about it makes me feel like I'm getting dizzy again. You know, I wonder if we haven't ruined Atarukuma's motivation scheme. Seems highly likely that Mr. Dodger is the one who had everything to lose from the kill detector test. He seemed to be staunchly opposed to everyone's taking it the moment it was announced. If he'd been forced to take it, we would have known his duplicitous nature. I wonder if perhaps we're in the clear now. By ruining Mr. Dodger's attempted murder, Skip did the unthinkable and prevented the first round killing. I mean, that's kind of soft thinking, isn't it? I mean, you've researched hundreds of these games. Come on, you're better than this. I will say the fact that we're heading towards the event plaza now is encouraging. If anyone wanted to prevent the examination, they're doing a poor job of it. On the other hand, there are plenty of others who aren't attending. You got Bailey close up in the comms tower and Charles close up in the bunker. Add to the fact that Roger has insisted he won't play and Hoyt's gone back to the port. The order Mr. Sullivan opted out? He did say he was going to be busy during this time. Turns out he's planning to try out his plane during this event. He let us all know just a bit ago. The bus is probably going to fly off by himself. Kind of funny when you consider what Roger just went through trying to get his own one-passenger ticket out of here. The fact doesn't exactly have me laughing after seeing what the younger Mr. Sullivan is capable of. Yeah, I guess they're really good fighters, surprisingly. Well, I'd have liked to know what sort of body count the order is planning on. As we approach the event plaza, I hear buzzing in my pocket. Okay. Attention bearer, arms cadets. It's come to my attention that the turnout for my super exciting kill detector test is less than 100%. Some of you still hold up in other places. As a little extra incentive, I'm going to give everyone a free tip. I'm the nicest, cheapest staff you're ever going to have in this rough world of ours. You don't even have to do any favors for me, under the table or otherwise. This one's... Wait, was that a sex joke? This one's something you can all see, so listen up. You all know the premise of a killing game, right? It means that you are all trapped inside here. It should go without saying that none of you can escape from here. I thought you were all the best of the best of the best, and you even had experience, but here we are. Some of you making brain-dead assumptions. One of you's been trying to use the comms tower to send messages outside the game, and others trying to fix up a plane to fly off the island. Oh, that's what it looks like. So I'm going to save you all some time and let you know what you should have pieced together from common sense. The comms tower can't contact the outside world. The boat can't reach the outside world. The plane can't reach the outside world. You know you're only allowed on the killing game grounds, and the outside world is well out of bounds. If you go outside the bounds of the killing game, it will be grounds for immediately disciplinary action, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like Gans, isn't it? Once you're out of the range, your head blows up or something. Similarly, if anyone were to enter the grounds of the killing game, it'd be shot on sight. So give it up and come enjoy some quality time with yours truly. Barrels of the cadets. Okay. It'll blow me down, cause of course it only figures he'd say something like that. Keep your flags at full sail, everybody. There's no reason to give up that easily. If anyone can figure out how to get us out of here, it's the Sullivan brothers. It was always a bit of a long shot. Just means we gotta face this head on, like I figured all along. You'll pull yourselves up by your bootstraps and keep your eyes open. Ho ho ho, I never intended to use such pedestrian means of escape anyway. The only true meanings to end the killing game is to vanquish the mastermind. My apologies, Monsieur Sullivan. It must be discouraging to hear, but perhaps it is a waste of time to continue exploring the boat or the plane as a means of escape from our present situation. Oh my, oh ho! That was a new voice line, I think, and that was a very fun one. So giant friend here means to say is that you must have had barnacles in your brain if you ever thought the mastermind would afford us that opportunity. Your brother especially, that hard-head Hoyt, continues to treat that plane like it's his own salvation. I wonder how he's feeling now that he knows it's off the table, hee.
No siree!
I know, you take that back. My brother was never intending to take the plane off the island and leave us hanging regardless. You may not know it looking at him, but he's got a heart of gold. All he ever wanted to do was fix that plane so he could go get help for all of us. Oh, really? You defend your brother, but you know what I've observed in my short time knowing him? You're the one who makes the decisions for him. You're the one who's got all the talent, aren't you? When things went awry, you took charge and took down the criminal. Could he have done the same thing? In you, I sense a fearless soldier, but in him, oh, I see a scared little child who's looking for a way out of his god-forsaken trap. You take that way out of at the expense of any of us. You got the sword. It's a knife again. Oh, not the sword, sorry, the knife. This is starting to make more sense with my theory. If Hoyt is the one that's hiding emotions, well, he's the one that needs the most growth, you know? And the competent one, the competent brother will always die in something like this. Golly, just ain't neighborly to badmouth somebody who's not here to defend himself. I'm telling you, my brother's got a heart of gold, okay? He's as true blue as the open sky. Now my heart isn't so soft as this. Matter of fact, it's been hard until it's like the nacre of the mollusk's shell. Stay behind me, Mademoiselle Loki. Relax, I'm not gonna hurt anybody. I just want to say that we all show each other the proper respect. Ma'am, I'm sure you're the greatest escape artist on the planet, slippier than a morally eel. Praise me more. All I'm asking is that you treat my brother with the same respect. Where did the knife go? He earned his title by being the best there is in the world at it. And he worked harder than anybody to earn it. Know your place, Skip. As long as I am here, your combat skill will avail you nothing. Break the peace at your own peril. You may lose more than just your fingers. Oh, okay, enough. Eliza, quit stirring the pot. Skip, do not rise to her taunts. Leeching, do not try to provoke fights. Kobe, quit trying to throw yourself in the path of danger. The way everyone's behaving, we won't last the night. A quiet falls over the Atara rail. We've been at our destination for a few minutes now. We will begin to funnel off in silence with Miss Xavier and myself at the front. The standoff has ended without any bloodshed, thankfully. The hot-blooded ones who've been looking for a fight can do nothing but sulk now. Okay. I wonder if the older Mr. Sullivan will continue tinkering with his aircraft given these new rules. Same for Miss Listening. Unlike the brothers, she may have assumed her work on outside communication was being conducted in a discreet manner the game's master couldn't detect. My mind isn't on the conflict at hand. All I can think about is Mr. Dodge's black blood. The others must have seen it. They saw it, and somehow their brains didn't register it. It's like my mind is screaming that the killing game is the least of their concerns compared to the question of their own nature. Unless his eyes could have been tampered with. You never know. Maybe it's actually pink blood that everyone else is seeing. The sensation is so frustrating. I've never felt more alone in this world. I can't tell which is more painful, to think of them all as robots that have no need to be saved, asking nothing from me and offering nothing in return, or to think that they are real flesh and blood humans and that I'm losing my mind to hallucinations to add to the peril we already face. Oh, okay. The stage for the kill detector test has been set in front of the event plaza where Tarakuma first made his appearance, just on the fringe of the forest. This time around, he's closed off a few spaces with large crude tents, nothing more than a series of poles and stretched curtains. He gives the plaza grounds a look as though he's planning a blood donation drive. I'd imagine the lie detector machine itself is hooked up behind the largest curtain. Each time the sheet flutters in the breeze, I get a glimpse of something metallic waiting back there. Surprisingly, Tarakuma is not the first familiar face to greet us as we enter the event plaza. Monitor robot displaying the face of Mr. Debunker wheels its way towards us and stops in our path. Oh my, it's good to see everyone's in one piece. I just realized that this thing has hands.
Right?
Oh my god, new sprite, one piece. I've got 4 stubs on my right hand, that'd say otherwise.
Oh dear.
That was nasty business. I have to say I appreciate your dedication to your own survival, but that was a very risky way to go about mounting an escape. Regardless, I'm glad that I chose not to attend your icebreaker. Then you guys know I'm a party veteran. I swear none of you guys know how to appreciate my...
No, sir.
That's enough out of you, chum. I don't think anyone needs to hear your telltale again. I for one regret that you have, as of yet, been unable to attend our many gatherings. There's only so much we can learn about one another if we don't communicate. I'd like to take this time to tell you everything I've learned about the others, and just as importantly, to get to know you. What have you been up to alone in that bunker? I imagine you have your own way of using that time productively. Oh wow, how flattering, truly. I'd say I'm using the time very productively indeed. Staying alive is the most productive thing that one can do. I've mostly been watching the monitors and consuming canned food. It's important that I stock up on nutrition now. Never know what Tarakuma might decide to do to my food supply. Watching everyone else's adventures, the few I can see, has been the most entertaining thing for me. Whoa, I've developed so many interesting headcanons related to all of you. Would you like to hear about them? He's a bit of a creep, I guess. I think I can already tell how much people are going to pair up. Which of you are interested? Oh my god, he's a shipper? I mean, well, that makes 2, I guess. I see, well, we do have some extra time. Let's talk over that. Okay. Fair arms, cadets. When I get out of the stage and do my song and dance, regale you with a few of my war stories, plant the seeds of camaraderie and such. But you sorry excuses for soldiers are so late I got the budget of my time. Rather than upon the stage, a Tarakuma has appeared from around the flap of one of the tents. One could almost be tricked into thinking he'd had to do any of the sort of physical labor setting up the place. But usually these environments are more likely to rise up out of the ground or some nonsense. For your privacy, we've got a tent set up here that will stop prying eyes. Except my one good eye, of course. I'd get to pry all I want, being the chief of staff, but don't worry about that. And you're broadcasting the results anyway, you green galoot. Who gives a hoot if the test is private or not? Well, you see, to administer the test, I need each of you to take off your own shirt so I can stick all kinds of science fiction suction cups all over your body. I'd take it off for you, but that kind of thing is frowned upon by top brass. Mask will have to come off too, if you're wearing one. Kind of a unique problem we ended up with this bunch of rookies. If you don't want to be seen topless in front of all your friends, I'd recommend using the tent. Oh great, he came up with yet another reason to avoid taking the test. Hey, being alone shirtless in the tent with your chief of staff who is also without a shirt is the definition of a good okay. Body soldiers ought to spend as much time shirtless around each other as possible. There's a lot of movies that teach us that. Hey, as much as I appreciate the overall vibe of shirtlessness, I have a question. I know it's just stupid fingers the way you use those things, you ought to be surprised it took somebody that long to cut them off. What? What did that imply? You're wondering if we can reattach those fingers, right? Answer's no, but we can stop the bleeding a little better than your necktail. One of these tents is a nurse's tent. Head over there and I'll be with you in a bit for some personal attention. At least somebody here still gives a damn about whether I'm alive or dead. Roger pushes off at Mr. Ewell, who had taken the duties of protecting him and keeping an eye on him, and disappears behind the curtain of the tent Tarakuma points towards. I'm afraid I'll have to opt out of the test given this new information. What? I wear this mask to protect my identity. I'm not going to take it off for the sake of the test. Really, how suspicious. Is protecting the identity really more important than proving you're not a killer? Yes, actually. The most important oath above all others is to avoid putting those inside my organization in harm's way. I won't do anything that jeopardizes their identities. I wonder if they're all like clones, kind of like, I don't know, Star Wars I think did that, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Anyways, okay. Revealing my own identity falls under the umbrella. Instead, I'll keep an eye on Mr. Dodger. Fully, I'm going to remove that mask. Don't be a spoil sport. Miss Loki, that domino mask isn't doing much to hide your face in the first place. Okay. So tell me I've only got 7 people left taking part in the test?
But of course.
I'll gladly answer the questions too if you want, but if you're giving me the option to avoid attending in person, of course I'm going to take it. Why don't I drop out and make it an even number? Just She's embarrassed. She's flustered, I guess. This is the last time I ever give you bastards an optional motivation. I worked really hard on this, and you guys are making a joke out of it. I'm in such a bad move now, I might just make you all run laps. Don't do it, single use. You ain't much of a chief of staff. Haven't done a single soldier's thing since we got here. 100 laps done away. Yes, sir. Hot doggity. Now you're talking. She's off, I guess. You guys know you're down to just six cadets after sending away Miss Dunaway, don't you? Yeah. I mean, hot up place and line damage is gonna do it when she finishes her laps. Interesting. The amusing scene has almost made me forget the danger underlying all of this. The motivation was meant to push someone into killing. The ones in line now are in order: Miss Xavier, myself, the currently occupied Miss Dunaway, whose place is being held in line, the younger Mr. Sullivan. I liked her little swipe in. That was kind of funny. Miss Loki, Miss Wrong had been helping Mr. Ewell watch Mr. Dodger. And finally Mr. Ewell, who's now occupied catching Mr. Debunker up to speed. Mr. Debunker is both here and not here. How are we going to take the clothes off Mr. Debunker though? Miss Sadie and Mr. Dodger are both here, but have opted out for different reasons. Okay. Miss Listener and the oldest Mr. Sullivan are both absent. Tarakuma's announcement was meant to curb their efforts to leave the island, but that doesn't seem to have motivated them to attend the test. I know that this test won't change much. We're already suspicious of one another. For instance, if I were to learn that Mr. Sullivan had killed a man, would that change anything about how I view him? He's already proven his capability to harm. Anyone who's elected to stand in line must feel fairly confident about their answer. Trying to reason everything out isn't helping. I'm the ultimate researcher, specializing in the study of the killing games, but have I managed to accomplish anything since I came here? I'm no closer to putting together a solution, nor have I been successful in my attempts to bring the others closer. Suddenly, my heart is racing out of control. I clutch at my chest and feel my breathing becoming ragged. This is another trap. I want to call out to everyone to warn them, no. To plead with them to stop. I want to beg them all to hold off killing, to give me more time. I can figure this out, I just need more time. Can't you let go without threatening each other with guns and chopping off each other's fingers for just another day? These people, be they humans or robots designed to mimic humans, people with a problem with the killing game, irrational decisions are everywhere. There is never enough data to predict their actions. I can't predict anything. You're up, Grumpy. Miss Xavier walks forward to Tarakuma's instruction. I want to reach out and stop her, but I have no justification. Okay. Please someone explain this to me. Give me some kind of clue to put it together before the inevitable happens. I don't want to see another death. Whoa. I guess that was the previous person, maybe? No, it's something else. Something else entirely. Images flashing through my head one after another. Images from my killing game research. Oh, I see. One death after another and another. Countless killing games desired by innumerable masterminds. Stabbings, strangulation, decapitations, dismemberments, shootings, impalements, burnings, electrocutions, explosions, poisons, acids, crushing, gnashing, pulling, ripping, twisting, popping, splattering, dying, but not before mistrusting, crying, howling, bleeding, convulsing, and enduring pointless suffering. Why would humanity ever want this? Why has humanity chosen something like this? Even if history went awry and one human created despair, why did the rest of humanity embrace it? I don't understand. Humans. And yet, you still want to save them, huh? I see words moving across my field of vision, courtesy of the spyglass's messaging system. Is Miss Xavier sending me these? Regardless, I can't let the chance get away. Answer the question, do I want to save humanity? I do, it's all I ever wanted. And remember the path to victory, you should still be able to access it. Are we in a simulation? Are we in a video game? Oh, is it a fourth wall breaking thing? It could be. Maybe Victor is just a character in a video game. Allow me to help you along. The scene around me seems to become so blurry that I can barely make it out, but that said, I see a person seated just a short distance in front of me. It appears as though I'm staring at myself. Okay. I strongly recommend that you save the game before continue. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Is this where it ends? Save the game before continue. When the next update is done, you'll be able to load the new content from this spot by pressing Shift R. Proceed when you're ready. So I guess maybe there isn't any more to load up. Let me just see what happens if I do. I've saved the data, so let's see what happens. Okay. Okay, I guess it is going to continue, but maybe that save point is a good point to end it off, because I'm assuming this is going to be like a whole new thing, and maybe it's not finished yet. Can I just say, Mr. Aim, what a fantastic fan game you have made. This is easily, without a doubt of my mind, the greatest fan game I've ever played. it's so well done. The art assets are on point. The story is really good. Everything's fleshed out. The characters, the free time events that you can do all of. The music slaps. I know you didn't conduct it, but I mean, you chose the music tracks, so. But anywho, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. This has been absolutely wonderful, and I think I'm just going to do this in the one video. I need to head off to bed now, because it's 5 in the morning. I wanted to do all this in one sitting, so here we are. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it just as much as I did. There's a link in the description below for the link to the game. I believe maybe a Discord server link and a Twitter link perhaps is on that page. So go show as much support as you can to this project, because there's so much potential. And you bet your ass I'm going to be here for the rest of the journey every single time this gets updated. So yeah, that's about it from me. You know, if I missed anything, please let me know down below, AIM. But for the time being, I will be ending Danganronpa SingleFile now. If you're wondering what I'll be doing next week, I do have one Danganronpa Fangame lined up that someone wanted me to do. If you yourself are a Fangan creator and you want me to play through your video game, let me know down below and we can get in touch over, you know, Twitter or Discord, something like that, and we can, you know, exchange the deets, and I will be more than happy to play any fan game that I haven't played yet. But other than that, I will just be uploading the regular, all the other games, well, you know, the Fire Emblem, the Angels of Death, that sort of thing going forward. But yeah, I'm always happy to do more fan content, so let me know down below if you want me to do more of that. Anywho, I'm going to end this one off here. Thank you so much for joining me, and hope to see you, well, sooner rather than later, but we do know that these things take time, so I'm happy to wait. Anyways, I'll see you all next time with the continuation of Danganronpa SingleFile, whenever that is. Bye bye.